let's jump into a mid-season review. Coming into fantasy football seasons, we all have these preconceived thoughts of how players are going to do, how we're gonna perform, who's gonna be the top running backs, the top quarterbacks. We're holding ourselves accountable here. Mid-season, we're gonna go into it with our quarterbacks and our running backs here on this fine Halloween Tuesday. Just want to preface it with, these are rankings based off of 6-point passing touchdown leagues for quarterbacks and full PPR. No half PPR, no standard, full PPR. So let's jump into it. Wes, the top 10 quarterbacks. And these are my top 10 quarterbacks. You're going to be reading off to me. My top 10 quarterbacks. You're going to compare them to the top 10 quarterbacks currently in fantasy football. Let's get at it.
Yes, comparing to a 6-point passing touchdown. 10th overall for you heading into the season was going to be Geno Smith. And he is just shy of the top 10. Let me locate him. He's not in the top 10, but he has been fine. He's not been amazing. Where is he located? Oh my gosh, I had it before all this, and then I just lost it. What a way to start out. There he is, 23rd. QB 23 on the season.
Love it.
QB 23. Yeah, he has not been the as prolific as we thought. But hey, they're right now first in the NFC West, so I guess something's working. But not what we thought was going to happen. 9th overall, you said was going to be Justin Fields, and I don't think it's going to happen for either of us because of this injury. But a couple of weeks, he looked like a top 10 quarterback for sure. So I don't fault you. We'll give you a nice little asterisk on that as well. Maybe for points per game, he's still in the top 10. Number 8, Tua Tagovailoa. And you and I were very similar on this. We thought like, hey, there's no rushing upside. He's going to have a ton of yards. He's going to have a good amount of touchdowns. But this dude right now is QB3. And he is...
Yeah, baby.
He is solid. As Dolphins fans, we're so pleased to see that. But... I mean, he's turning out to be a true value in the draft. If he was like 9th, 10th round for some people, he was a second quarterback option for a lot. You and I took him as our only quarterback, at least our first one, and that's been paying dividends for sure. Lamar Jackson was your QB7. Part of that was going to be the passing game, was an interest for you, how that was going to develop. You thought normally he would be even higher, but he was going to be throwing more, which was going to take away from his rushing upside. Very close because he's QB6 on the season.
Yeah, baby.
And he is playing very well. And aside from how he performed just now in Week 8, he has been an MVP candidate. He has had some dominant games, been in a hyped-up segment a couple of times. He's been phenomenal. He's been worth the pick. Some down weeks, but... I like what's happening there. Josh Allen was your QB6. He was not even in your top 5, and you and I both had the same expectation going into the season. We thought there was going to be so much more conservativeness for the Buffalo Bills. We thought they were going to rush more. They're going to use their running backs more. They're going to play it more safe. They're going to throw away the ball in the red zone. They were going to avoid turnovers, not going to take as many deep shots. And that's what we thought was going to slide him back, maybe out of the top 5. Instead, this boy is QB1 on the season. He has scored the most fantasy points out of everyone in the NFL because they are not playing it safe. They're not playing conservative, and they are playing for better and worse, the same as they did last year. I mean, they're just in the NFL real-world context. They're going to head into Cincinnati next week, and they could be looking at a 5-4 start. Who knows if this is paying off in the real world, but for us, it's working just fine. Yeah. Your top 5 on the season, kicking it off, you thought Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr, Joe Cool was going to be number 5, and it has been a rough start. And as we talked about earlier in the episode about Joe Burrow's performance and the calf injury, we thought this was going to be the end of the season. They may even miss playoffs. Last 2 weeks, he has been hot. He has been just as we thought he was going into the season. So I'm glad to see the turnaround. We know, I have a feeling he'll still make his way in the top 10, even though, let me keep scrolling. He's QB 21 on the season.
Yeah, 21, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a long way to go to catch up into at least the top 10 for that kind of merit. But you know who's not been all that hot is your QB4 heading into the year, Trevor Lawrence. He's not been it. He's not been the guy. They've been winning. They're 6-2. They're essentially tied for first in the AFC because all division winners currently are 6-2. But I mean, let me also just keep scrolling to find him again because it's been a disappointment. He's not too far. He's QB 14, but we thought this was going to be
in non-6 point leagues, in non-6 point passing touchdown leagues.
I'm sure
1 week as a top 10 quarterback this season. Disappointment.
It's been a disappointment. I mean, some may argue that he is a bust in fantasy because there's been a lot of 15, 16-point weeks, and we were expecting 25 plus easy each week, but it has not been. It's not been the situation for him. Things have been turning around for your QB3, cracking the top 3. You thought was going to be Justin Herbert, and some down weeks here and there, but when he is rolling like he was on Sunday, Justin Herbert is doing great. Right now, he's QB7 in a 6-point scoring system. He's been great. Still up in the air. Half the season to go, obviously, is our midseason review, so we'll see if he was worth that fourth round pick. A lot of people took him at, but could do much worse. You could have got Trevor Lawrence.
Early bye week.
Let's not forget that.
12-point game against Kansas City. Outside of that, in 6 point, been 22 plus every single week.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out, though, Herbert. Let's get it to Keenan a little more. Just a little
that
emphasis right there. Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Good player.
Your top 2 quarterbacks of the season, Jalen Hurts was number 2, and he is number 2 heading into week 9. Halfway through, spot on, and it didn't seem like he was actually playing as a top fantasy player for some time, but last week, Sunday, week 8, was definitely a big contribution to that. But he's still playing great, and you wanted to make sure you never discounted and bet against your number 1 quarterback on the season, Patrick Mahomes. And I'll tell you what, last week did not do him any favors because he dropped all the way to QB4. But heading in, he was number 2, I think. I mean, just behind Josh Allen. So he's still top 5 quarterback. It's been a disappointment. There's still some. They look vulnerable. They look beatable, and especially going against Miami, I expect a lot out of Mahomes in the passing game. But tell you what, not too bad. And just for fun, we'll share who was in the top 10 that neither of us actually predicted. Brock Purdy is currently the top 10. 6-point scoring system. Had a hot start. They've dropped 3 in a row. Has not looked all that great. Russell Wilson has made his way in the top 10, and you and I were believing a little bit in him as a top 15 quarterback. One of your what-ifs that you asked, what if Sean Payton fixes Russell Wilson? That might be happening currently. Number 8 is the biggest one. Number 8 is Sam Howell because he's throwing 50-plus times in multiple games, and he apparently knows how to play very well against the Eagles secondary, and unfortunately he won't get to do it again, but he's balling out in fantasy. And last on the list that will not stay in the top 10, currently number 5 is Kirk Cousins. That is obviously not going to change. So if I wanted to throw in one fun option, because we take out Kirk Cousins because it almost has been nullified with his Achilles tendon, Jared Goff would then be in the top 10. After his Monday night game last night. That's the top 10. How do you feel on your comparison to the current list and how you've been predicting the season so far?
Feel okay. Feel pretty good. Only 3 or 4 guys not in there that I had predicted. So feeling okay. Quarterback I feel like is pretty easy to predict. Pretty easy, that kind of thing here. It's going to be fun though here, Wes. Let's jump to running backs.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to run down your top 10 running backs in the preseason for this year's fantasy football year. And number 10, Dalvin Cook, New York Jets, running back, Mr. Dalvin Cook. Am I looking at the correct list, Wes? Or
scroll down. Scroll down. I was like, there ain't no way.
I was shocked there for a second. I was like, what are you? Wow, he really projected Dalvin Cook. Okay, I see.
Scroll down. You'll see RBs with stats, the points, number 10.
Got it.
Just played last night.
Got it, Tony Pollard.
A little further, even further.
Is there how
further.
many lists do you have, dude?
I got so many notes. That's the official one.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
I change my mind a lot. I change my mind a lot. That's on me.
RB10, Jahmyr Gibbs.
There it
We
is.
obviously have seen him come on a little bit here. His points and rankings won't be fully updated yet, but after a strong week 7, and surely this will jump here for week 8. After week 7, he was RB 28. He's obviously was a disappointment to start the year. Now he's been in an opportunity where he's getting to play a little bit more. It's been exciting stuff for Jahmyr Gibbs, and there should be more exciting things to come. Number 9 for you, Wes, was Ramondre Stevenson. You and I both knew the Ezekiel Elliott signing happened. Weren't too worried about it. What we didn't foresee is the Patriots being this bad at football.
Yeah.
And they're bad at football. He is currently the RB 23. Been a little bit of a letdown there for him. RB 8, Wes. We both got bamboozled. Mr. Najee Harris. RB 32 currently. He's just been a letdown. It's been the Steelers are. How are the Steelers 4-3 with a winning record? We may never know, but this is just something else. Better days to come.
Yeah.
A lot of better days to come. Your RB7, Wes, was Jonathan Taylor. Now he's come on pretty well in the last few weeks. He played 61% of snaps this past week, but obviously he did not play for 4 weeks. So a little bit of an asterisk here. He's currently sitting at the RB 45. That'll be sure to go up as he continues to take over this role. Your RB6, Alexander Madison.
That's right.
Hey, a top 25 running back. He might be losing his job to Cam Akers. We'll see what happens. It's gonna be interesting to check out here. I will say the Vikings are gonna need to rely on these running backs more, as they do not have Kirk Cousins anymore here. Your RB5, Wes, was Derrick Henry. He was up there for me. I know that for sure. He's the RB11. Been disappointing some weeks. Other weeks he wins you the week. I call him the George Kittle of running backs this season. He's been very up and down. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Your RB4, and a little asterisk here, was Austin Eckler. Now, Austin Eckler's missed 3 games, but he's still a top 30 running back just inside. He's the RB29. He had a great week 1, couple down weeks against a couple good run defenses in Dallas and Kansas City. And then Sunday Night Football, 23 fantasy points, RB7 on the week. So he should be just fine going forward. Your number 3 running back, we ranted about his coach, Bijan Robinson. Still somehow a top 10 running back in fantasy football, despite a headache week with 0.3 points.
Wow.
What a guy. Your number 2 running back, we talked about him a little bit already as well, Wes, is Mr. Tony Pollard. RB15. For some reason, this bell cow role is not translating after the first few weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get a little bit of a turnaround here, but Tony Pollard has been a little bit of a letdown for us. And then RB1. Your RB1 on the season, Wes. And the RB1 currently is Christian McCaffrey there, no doubt about it.
I got
We knew he was going to be that guy. Now for fun, like you did with me, Wes, I'm going to run down the top 10 running backs in this NFL fantasy football season currently.
Insane.
Number 10, Bijan Robinson. There you go. Number 9, Isaiah Pacheco. Wow. Number 8, Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams still the RB8 who has not played in multiple games this season due to injury.
Wow.
RB8 on the season, Kyron Williams. RB7, Kenneth Walker III. That was my what if, man. What if Zach Charbonnet truly is the backup, and we see it right here. RB7 for KW3. RB6, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, RB6, after being suspended the first 3 games. And he is the RB6.
Oh my
Fantasy cheat code, if you ask me. I believe he's been upwards of 20 points every single game he has played this season. He is unbelievable. RB5, DeAndre Swift. That was your what if, Wes. What if DeAndre Swift reaches his true potential in the Philadelphia Eagles offense? And my goodness, is he ever. RB4, Zach freaking Moss is the RB4 in fantasy football.
Why?
Somehow, even with like 30% of snaps against the Saints, a great run defense, he
Oh,
still
my goodness.
gets in the end zone, scores a touchdown. RB3, Mr. Raheem Mostert of the Miami Dolphins. Who would have thought, man? Who would have
Come
thought?
on.
And just real quick, his running mate, Devon Achane.
Oh, he's still, what is he, still top 15?
He is. I'm so sorry, I just had it. Devon Achane is RB13, and he's played like 3 games.
That's
So there you go. He's still there in the top 15. That's ridiculous.
Wow.
This Miami Dolphins offense. RB2, Travis Etienne. He has been absolutely awesome, especially over the last 4 weeks. Unbelievable. And then RB1, Christian McCaffrey. Man,
Incredible.
we're going to do this for our wide receivers and our tight ends on our Friday episode. So make sure you tune into that. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
And that is going to do it for this episode. Who surprises you the most inside the top 10? I know for me, freaking Zach Moss. What is going on here? It's pretty unbelievable. Drop it in the comments. Let us know.